Hello everyone, I am James Milan. Welcome to this DPCD update, which frankly is going to be unlike the vast majority of such updates that we have done over these last months. The reason for that is our DPCD updates, that being of course the Department of Planning and Community Development here in town, have always been very content rich. We've been catching up with the director, Jennifer Raitt, around all the different programs that are in play at any given moment, getting updates on new things that are coming up, etc. Much less of that content today because we have really one big thing that we're doing today, and that is saying, unfortunately, goodbye to Jenny, who will be doing this as her last DPCD update, and then welcoming her successor on the update for sure, and that's Kelly Lynema, who will join us in just a few minutes. All right, sorry for that lengthy introduction, Jenny. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes,
as always.
I am very glad that we get this one last little conversation with you. So as as I just mentioned, you are going to be moving on to your next job, and we will be missing you, of course, including right here, because you are, of course, instrumental in the development of these updates, and I feel, I hope that the audience does as well, that they've been invaluable in terms of just bringing people, just keeping people informed about the various things that the planning department has been up to for more than a year now. Always appreciate the time that you spend with us, and the benefits of knowing, hey, what's happening as the Mystic Lakes pathways become connected to the bike path, as new infrastructure comes on board, as the latest in our kind of attempts to combat climate change and excessive housing prices. All these things are stuff that we have covered and will continue to cover in these updates. I guess I should ask you, do you have some news to share with us today, and in the traditional way that we usually catch up with you?
Yeah, I do have a couple of updates. They're very brief, of course, and I'll walk you through them.
Please do.
Okay, so the first one is, as you know, we've been doing the ARPA grant awards that have been coordinated through our department. One of those programs is the Transformative Growth Grant Program for businesses and nonprofits. This program is open through June 7th. And so we're still accepting applications. This is actually sort of a preliminary step in a longer application process. There's actually staff from the department who've been meeting regularly with various people who've had questions about their potential grant applications. So there's a lot of support available if people want it and have questions about it. But we're hoping to really fund, unique, innovative, new programming to basically support the recovery of the community as a result of COVID-19. And there's a lot of different types of applicants that could be eligible for these funds. It's sort of use your imagination in terms of what you might apply for and the amount you might apply for. We're looking at all different kinds of things, including mural programs, youth programs, ways to support businesses expanding. So there's a lot of things being talked about, and we hope to be able to review a lot of different types of applications as a result of this sort of more expansive way of thinking about business recovery, as opposed to just providing the business assistance support grants that we did in the past, which covered things like rent or mortgage payments or utility bills or tax payments, et cetera. These are things that are a little bit more expansive and that could potentially lead to growth in the business and nonprofit community. Both important sectors for our recovery in Arlington. So that is through June 7th.
And I love the fact that, if we're going to be talking about getting an update on something that the planning department is underway, that it is that, because that really kind of both encompasses and references so much of the work that you do, and the tone and spirit of that work, which in other words is to enhance and strengthen the bonds within our community to support those businesses, nonprofits, and other entities that really could use that support, and to, again, kind of be moving ever forward in the vision that we have for the community we want to continue to be and become as well. So intrinsic to all that is the work of the Department of Planning and Community Development and your work over these last years that we have been sharing and today celebrating on this particular update.
Well, thank you. Well, I am a small part of this, and it's much thanks go to this excellent team of people who work in the Planning and Community Development Department, who developed the program and who are working with people in the community to bring it forward. So I'm just happy to be able to share that with all of you, your viewers, etc. The other thing that I wanted to mention is the Mass Ave and Appleton project is continuing to advance and proceed. We will be having a sort of like a new kickoff meeting for this phase of the project where we've secured the services of Stantec Consulting to provide design, engineering, and public engagement as part of a longer process to develop basically safety and greater accessibility along this corridor. Which is, it's a fairly significant amount of area being covered and discussed. And so this meeting is occurring on June 14th. It is actually in person. That's new.
That is brand new.
That's an update for you, for everybody. So there's not a Zoom link. It is in person at the community center at 7 p.m. On June 14th. And so we do hope that people will engage, particularly the people who are in and around that corridor. We see this project as being, really fundamental to both addressing the safety and accessibility issues, but also in being able to tie together a number of different developments that are either under construction, in a planning stage, or will eventually be coming online soon. So we really want to sort of bring all of that together and make sure that we address these issues. And with that in mind, it will also help us to advance our longer term work in applying for Mass Ave, Appleton funds through MassWorks, which is basically a state funding resource to actually do the construction project. We will be applying for MassWorks for this sort of design phase to continue the design work as well as some additional work that will follow, but we will be advancing to a construction phase in the future. And so this engagement is really critical to all of that.
Great. So mark your calendars, folks, June 14th at the Community Center, 7 p.m. Let me ask you to do something, Jenny, and that is we started these DPCD updates a while ago, and we did that in conjunction. You and I and Joan Roman, our public information officer in town, really came up with these. And the idea being, as I've referenced already, to anybody who's interested would be able to know on a kind of bi-weekly basis what the progress of different programs are, et cetera. What I'd love for you to talk about just for a minute is what this experience has been like from your perspective on your end. And then at the end of that, if you wouldn't mind introducing Kelly, who will be taking up these your seat here for the next update coming up in a short while.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the experience is wonderful to have, our local television company and producer be able to bring together so much of the experience of, sort of just the work that happens at Town Hall is part of everybody's lives, and to be able to understand what the impact of that work is and have it sort of translated through ACMi is incredible and meaningful. And I think, there's nobody else who could do it but you. So I'm forever thankful and indebted to ACMi for the constant coverage of my life here in Arlington. I actually was looking back at my first appearance on ACMi from my first Arlington Redevelopment Board meeting. And, I haven't had in the past, I had certainly had experiences working with a local access channels many, many, many times, but I hadn't had one as so deeply embedded in the work. And it really makes a difference to bring this information directly to people. There's many people who look at their TV and they put the station on and they want to see the information. They want to connect with people at town hall and understand what they're doing. They don't, necessarily read our town notices, and it is a meaningful way of providing the outreach, or they, look at the YouTube channel. So I think that it does make a big difference. And from my perspective of sharing very frequently, I'm so glad to be able to do it and have the ability to have done that over the years working here, because I don't feel like it gets done at town hall. It gets done in the community and with the community and by the community. So it's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to be able to participate in this. And I hope that it does continue, so that, it continues to be understood and meaningful, and people can ultimately engage in what we're talking about, not feel that we are distant at town hall, but very much available and accessible to people. I've always felt very strongly about that in my time here, and I'm glad that together we've been able to make some of that happen. So thank you.
Hear, hear. And speaking of making somebody available,
I'm so pleased that, I've been working with Kelly for a number of years now. First, we were able to work together when she became our senior planner, and she became the assistant director in October of last year. And so with my departure, she will be serving as the acting director of the department, and will of course be taking on these updates as you now know how important these are to communicating the work of the team, and also being able to get ahead of questions that people in the community might have about our work. So Kelly Lynema.
Yes, Kelly, welcome. Obviously, as we're all familiar with, Jenny has set the bar quite high here, but I have no doubt that she is leaving this task, this privilege, as well as many other responsibilities, in extremely capable hands, those being yours. Just any self-introduction that you would like to do for the audience?
Sure, I can do that. Thank you. And obviously, Jenny has left some very large shoes to fill, and I'll be filling them for the interim until we have a new director. But my name is Kelly Lynema. I live in Medford with my husband, daughter, our 2 cats, and a hedgehog. I grew up in Michigan, and I worked professionally there and in California, and most recently in Greater Boston. Prior to receiving my master's in urban planning from Harvard's Graduate School of Design, I worked for about 10 years in communications, marketing, and graphic design, which is part of the reason why I'm really excited about carrying forward these ACMi updates, because I do believe that communication is so important to what we do in the planning department. But since getting my master's degree, I've worked in planning consulting firms, doing district plans and comprehensive plans and placemaking for cities and towns across the East Coast and down to Texas. But as Jenny mentioned, I joined Arlington in 2018 as the senior planner, and I've really been fortunate to work with her. She's been an amazing mentor. I've learned so much from her about housing, about planning, about historic preservation, about integrating everything from sustainable transportation and community development block grants and fair housing, and just integrating all of this into one practice for a town. So I've been able to work on things like the Historic Preservation Survey Master Plan and the Housing Plan. And James, I think we met earlier around the 2020 census when we were doing some information about that. So my personal passion is for data and design and communicating technical ideas to those who are new to a topic. But I think what I've loved about my job so far is just my ability to work with this really amazing team that Jenny has put together, in communicating with staff, working with committees on data collection and analysis, design and communication and outreach. And I'm just looking forward to carrying that through as we move forward into the next few months.
Well, this town has been in very, very good hands for a long time now, and I'm sure that the transition will be as seamless as such things are possible to be, given that both the capable hands on the giving side and on the receiving side of the responsibilities here. So we wish you the best of luck in taking on your new duties, Kelly, and we really look forward to continuing this conversation and these updates as we go forward.
Great. I look forward to coming back in June. We have a lot of transportation planning projects that are going on and a lot of new projects that will be kicking up. So Jenny's left us with a lot of work to do, and we're just going to keep moving that.
No surprise to hear that you've got plenty to talk about in another couple of weeks and through June and into the summer, et cetera. I want to bring Jenny back now and, to basically say goodbye, but want to really acknowledge, Jenny, it's very hard to separate your departure in some ways from Adam Chapdelaine, our town manager's departure as well, because truly, I don't think that it is an exaggeration to say that we have enjoyed visionary leadership in this town over your tenure and in conjunction with Adam's work. The two of you have worked extremely effectively together to push us forward into a future that we all are looking forward to. And so for one last time, we really appreciate all the work that you have done and the situation, the position in which you are leaving us and Kelly and the Department of Planning and Community Development at this point. We will do our best to take all the work you've done and continue to expand upon it.
Well, excellent. I very much appreciate that. It's been, again, a pleasure to be able to be with you, these many different updates, and just in general, we worked together prior to these updates on other, things that we were working on with the master plan, and just so many opportunities to continue to carry the work forward. And I appreciate these opportunities to have spoken with you and to be able to reach out to the viewers. And I'm so glad to be able to leave this in very capable hands of Kelly.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And we wish you the very, very best in your future. Stay in touch.
Thank you.
And welcome, Kelly Lynema.
Thank you very much.
All right. So that will end this DPCD update. I have been speaking to our current, for a short while longer, Director of Department of Planning and Community Development, Jennifer Raitt, and her successor, Kelly Lynema. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us. Thank you out there in the audience for joining us as well. I'm James Milan. We'll see you next time.